how much comes out at a time? We could talk about that. How much comes out of you at a time? Do you even know? Many people don't keep track of that. You just sort of go, it was a lot. Ooh, I should have gone about a half hour ago. Some people are very tuned in, some people aren't. But if you're going to be my partner, and I'm the one who's having problems, you might want to start paying attention to my pattern. Do I go a lot at once in the morning and then more frequently in the afternoon, but less at a time? What does my evening look like? What about in the middle of the night? Do I get up? Or do I rush, rush, rush? So starting to know more about me. When we talk about size matters, well, fitting the product to the person also matters. I'm going to find out how much will one of these hold? Because actually, I'm fairly curious. And actually, I checked it out a little bit beforehand, but I thought it would be cool for you to see this. And I have my chef's hat on. Some of you might want to tell me that's not a chef's hat. Don't argue with my reality. I'm the cook in this kitchen. And I want to know, what can this hold? Because if I'm going to put it on someone, I sort of want to know that. So this is a day pad that has the strip in the back. This one's for a woman, and I have enough fluid here. I think I can test both. So it turns out that a typical bladder, if we don't overfill it, would hold about a cup of fluid at a time. Now, we call that urine when it comes out of your bladder, but basically it's essentially like water. And there's a small opening called the sphincter the opening actually is the urethra. That little hole that it comes through, it's a little tube that comes down from your bladder and then lets it out. But there's a muscle around it. That's the sphincter that holds the hole shut until it's time to have the bladder squeeze and the sphincter open, and out comes the urine. So let's say that it comes out about like this. So I think that's fairly accurate. Now it's getting a little heavy, so I have to shift my hand. So it's coming out, pretty solid stream. And what you'll notice is you don't see any dripping over the sides. Now that has maybe a lot to do with the hydrophilic versus the hydrophobic. So basically at this point, I've poured an entire cup of liquid in there in a very limited time. And there's actually none coming out the sides, either side, and it's all down in the bottom. Now, right in this moment, I will tell you, it's really still damp on the inside. And it's really getting a little heavy. It's like a cup of fluid. But as I'm watching it, what's happening, I can put my hand on it and I can put my hand here and you can see there's a little dampness. But over the course, I have to dry my hand off in between. It won't really. Let me do that. And I put my hand back and you'll see, look, no wet. Because that absorbent barrier has created actually a barrier between me and the liquid now. And so what happens is it keeps the moisture away from my skin. And it also has this little area here and here, so it's not. Now it's heavy, so more than likely my underwear would start to feel sort of heavy. And if I squeeze it, like if I squeeze it where my legs come together, still no liquid comes up and it still feels dry. I can like run my hand there and it's still dry. So let's maybe try another, because I don't change it. I didn't notice that happen. So this time we're going to try it again. Oops. Now if I hold it way far away from it and put it down in it, well, that's not how it works. Just so we're clear, it stays real close. So I'm going to hold it close because that's sort of, I can't really simulate. And I'm going to actually hold it up like that. And what you'll see is I'm still putting a nice stream out, if you can see that. And yes, it is filling up. But what's happening is it's being captured by the sides and it's sending it along the whole thing. So now we're close to 2 cups. So I'm going to go ahead and get to 2 cups. A tiny bit more. There we go. So yep, that's 2 cups. So 2 cups. Let me hold it up. There's going to be a little drip, I can tell, coming off the end. There we go. Well, actually, I was wrong. There's no drip coming off the end. So I've got 2 cups of liquid in here, and I'm going to squeeze it to see what happens. And it lifts up, but it doesn't, I mean, it's not coming off. So it really is holding on to all that liquid. And when I tried it earlier, it actually, within a very short window of time, this center area, it gets drier again. So again, it's keeping the moisture again away from the person. So when I press down on it and I lift away, this inner area seems to be drying out. So now I've got at least 2 cups in there. And actually earlier, I did 3 cups, and it basically did the same thing. So this has 3 cups of fluid in it. And the interesting thing is that's actually just for a pad for day wear. So it wasn't actually the all night stuff. So maybe if we get really inspired, we could try the all night thing. But I was just curious, okay, so that was the ladies pad. But yesterday I was showing you like a guy's thing. So I wondered, oh, that's the other ladies one. Oh, here we go. From the outside, they look a lot alike. It's not until you open one. So this was the guy's one, where we had the little pocket for the guy thing. So what I'm going to do is have the little pocket for the guy thing and pour liquid down in there and see what happens. Oops, I better be careful because I'm not good at pouring and holding at the same time. And I put it out a little faster because guys can put it out a little faster. And once again, it took a whole cup, and it's in there, man. It's solid in there, and nothing is coming out the edges. So, you know, wanting to make sure, because one of the things that happens is people don't recognize that they just did that. So I'm going to put it down here because I'm afraid I'm going to drop something, but I'm going to go ahead and pour it pretty quickly. So this is cup 2. I just did cup 2 in there. And I'm going to hold it up to see what happens. And I'm going to tip it over to see what happens. Oh, there was a drip. Oh, another drip. If I squeeze it, drips come out. If I squeeze it this way, drips come out the side. So for guys, it looks like it doesn't hold as much for men as it does for women. So this one would require potentially more changing. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't be changed anywhere. I'm just looking at, for people who don't know they need to be changed, and for whom changing is a bit of a challenge, this male garment would require more changing than the female garment. So what might make sense is to maybe look at the option of a chef's hat earlier if it's a male versus just a pad that would be more for what we would call bladder outlet issues, where it's dribble, 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 dribble. Someone who has an enlarged prostate, someone who has problems like that, this might be a better option because it would capture small amounts over a longer period of time, keeping the person in clothing dry. Now, this is just the start of this, but I really did want to check out, does it do what it says it doesn't? You know, what's cool about it, that sort of work. So here comes the really hard part. Either tomorrow or the next day or someday this week, yours truly is going to put on an incontinence brief and try to make herself not use the toilet. Now that's going to be a real challenge. And I want you to realize how much a challenge that is. And think about it for yourself, because rather than dealing with this idea of people are so challenging, they just won't go to the bathroom, I want you to realize for yourself how hard it would be to not go to the bathroom when you know you should go to the bathroom, and to keep yourself from doing that and going ahead and letting yourself pee in something, and realize how much brain failure, how much brain change has to take place for somebody to be okay with doing that. And so when we're trying to put somebody in something so they can't get their clothing off when they feel like they need to go to the bathroom, maybe we should see it from the other side, which is, I absolutely know I'm supposed to get this off in order to go. The one piece I missed is, where was I when I started to do that? Because the reality is my hippocampus is broken and I can't find the place I'm supposed to be. And I'm just trying to do the thing I know I'm supposed to do. I'm not supposed to pee on myself. So what I'm supposed to do is get my clothing off so at least I can put the pee someplace so it's not on me. And when I get to a place where I don't even know that's happened, then it's not like I'm being ornery about the whole thing. I didn't even know I had a sensory experience that required intervention because I'm not keeping up with my day, my body. So I just want us to see it from the other side. So I'm going to do my very best to tolerate it for a while tomorrow. We'll see how other people feel about that and whether or not odor control works as well as we might hope. And I'll bring along extra clothing because I certainly don't want to have too much trouble. But, you know, if we're going to put them on somebody else, maybe we should check out what it feels like to have them on. Because it's easy to sit in judgment of another person's behavior, perhaps, until you're trapped in a situation where you can't make your body do what you want it to. You can't get it to behave like you'd like. And so suddenly you're feeling like people are treating you differently, but maybe you're actually realizing you're feeling pretty different.